Your ships are going to be the ones that are going to be doing the heavy lifting. That goes beyond contestation. However, when it comes to protecting your shores, they may not be there all the time. So you might find yourself in a position where the AI is actually capable of taking an island off of you. And let me tell you, it is probably one of the worst experiences anybody of whom is a veteran of Anno 1800 will tell you. Putting hours and hours of work into an island to watch it immediately get demolished if the AI takes it over. But I'm going to show you how harbor defenses work, what they're good for, and how best to use them. Let's get on with today's video, shall we? Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Anno 1800 Beginner's Guide series. The reception for the military and trade ships video was fantastic, and I figured it's really a good idea to bring forward the harbor defenses and really show you all what it's about, how best to utilize them, and really when and what position to really put them in, because each of them have a radius and each one of them needs to be placed properly, otherwise they're not going to be as effective as you want them to be. Some of them are very good, some of them are kind of on the side of like, I'm telling you, don't even build them because they're going to be useless. But let's start. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have it here on Zerexlon. Now, if you guys are also watching the Anno 1800 Expert Campaign series, you know that I do a little bit of roleplay with my story and gameplay and all that stuff, because that's just the type of person that I am. I'm a role player, I'm a storyteller. I really think it enhances the experience, because typically, like, you will be able to see the exact same thing over and over and over again, but bringing a little bit of roleplay into it, it's fantastic in my opinion. But at any rate, that's not what we're here for right now. What we're here for is to really discuss the different harbor defenses. And for the first ones right here, being the mounted guns, the flak emplacement, the cannon tower, I should have gone like this, but my mouse decided to go to the other side and I read that one. You are going to be utilizing not only a little bit of influence, but you're also going to be using the older weapons. Okay, so this is stuff that you would build early on in your campaigns to really protect your island against any sort of hostile invader. Do note that your harbor itself always comes with a mounted gun. This is always a standard. If we go to the other islands that I have over here, let's try like Navarra's Might. We have a cannon tower right there already put in. Corinthas, we also have one here, and then a smaller one kind of over in this corner. This is the small harbor. There's still a cannon tower. So you're not going to be defenseless by any means. Thing is, though, one cannon tower is not capable of taking on an entire fleet. It might deter them, but it's not going to completely destroy them. So let's start off with the mounted guns. Do note that if you actually are playing the campaign mode, there is a time near the end, I'm not going to give spoilers or anything, there is a time where the game will prompt you to build these. The general premise, it makes sense why it's telling you to do it, but I will say flat out, don't even bother, because it's like, if you have a large enough fleet, you're going to defeat the enemy regardless. Okay, so we're going to start off with the mounted guns here, and these ones are primarily used just like take little pot shots. Okay, and as you notice, it says under construction. Each one of your harbor defenses, very similar to the police stations and fire stations and hospitals when you put them down, they're going to be training fearsome fusiliers, so they are not active during this time. This is a way that the game is saying to you, you better pre-plan and don't wait for an invasion force to come and fight you, because you have to wait for these guys to get trained on how to use these guns. Otherwise, they're going to blow their own arms off, right? So the cool thing with this particular mounted gun is it is fast, but it doesn't deal a lot of damage. That's why it's really better to fight against like schooners or clippers or like little gunboats that try to get at you. They're very, very basic guns. These ones are not meant to take out like ships of the line. They can do a little bit of damage to frigates, but again, the frigate is probably going to demolish this thing, so best be aware. And instead, we're going to get rid of this guy because I quite frankly don't care about him right now. There'd be a fantastic idea, instead of having this, that you actually build the cannon tower. I actually like the placement here because that's a little bit higher elevation than this one. So the cannon tower is a lot more effective, but it is slower. It does 150 damage per shot, but it is slow at 4 seconds on the reload speed and attacking. So it's only 37 damage per second. Do note that you're probably going to be having around 4 or 5 of these at any given time on your island. So they will be having some sort of a rapid fire effect, but this one is enough to really deter enemy ships from coming in here en masse. It's not to say that they won't try, it's more like you're trying to give that really defensive posture. And that is what the AI is naturally going to be like, whoa, okay, this dude may not want to mess with him at this time, okay? Cannon towers are really good against the ships of the line, frigates, all those things that are trying to get at you. It will take a little bit of time to actually destroy a ship of the line. They do have a little bit of a faster damage rate than these ones. The only thing that these guys have is that they are pretty stable on defeating every sort of wooden hulled ship. The next one, this is if you have airships in your game. Please, please, please note from right now, this thing is not going to hit your enemy ships. It'll only deal damage to airships, and that is the Flak Emplacement. Now, it is pretty cool, and we did talk about the Flak Monitor in the previous episode. The only thing that this thing has over the Flak Monitor that I want to actually mention is that you can potentially get Harbourmaster items to make these things more effective. And let me tell you, a Flak Emplacement against enemy airships is disgusting. Disgusting on the level of it will absolutely nuke anything that's coming towards it, okay? The reason for that is it is fast, okay? So 22 damage per shot, it sounds low, but 91 damage per second. It'll wreck most airships, okay? That's why if you want and you know that the AI or whomever you're going up against is going to spam airships, it may be a good idea to set up a little bit of a Flak Emplacement of like 4 or 5 of these on your island. Obviously, they do cost influence and obviously maintenance, but in the grand scheme of things, they will be pretty damn effective on dealing with your enemy. 100%. I had to use these during a massive war with Margaret Hunt, and they were able to protect quite a few islands from being carpet bombed by her little airships, okay? It was very annoying. I lost 2 islands, actually, I'm sorry, I lost 3 islands in that war, one of which was a massive, massive island. That's why I'm telling you, these things are really, really important. But again, I think this is only visible if you have airships in your game, so if you don't see this, don't worry about it, you know where to get it. The next one, and I think is probably the third most deadliest thing on this list, is the Flame Tower. Has the exact same base as the Cannon Tower, but comes from the Artisan tier. The reason why I say the Flame Tower is pretty strong is because it has the same modifiers, a little bit better, than the Flamethrower monitors and the Perforian monitors against wooden hulled ships. 575% is nothing to scoff at. And it will demolish every single flame or wooden hulled ship in existence if you get close to it. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to a point if you're dealing with wooden hulled ships. With metal hulled ships, you can outrange it. That's one good thing. You can outrange most harbor defenses if you optimize your battle cruisers, which is why I'm saying that they're probably the best on the list with when it comes to like having a very formidable navy. But I want you to know these things have a tendency of crit damaging metal hulled ships. I have lost at least 10 to 15 of my optimized battle cruisers to flame towers alone. Okay, they are. Do not ever, ever, ever take this one lightly. Outrange it, demolish it, then move in. Okay? You heard it here first. From the warmonger himself, okay? My eyes are very wide open. I have not blinked the entire time I've been talking about flame towers, and many, many hand gestures were thrown in there. The next tier is when we get into engineers with the large harbor. Now, we don't have much when it comes to the defenses here, but again, the defenses that you do get at this stage are very powerful, okay? Very, very powerful. The first one is the Anti-Armour Gun. The Anti-Armour Gun is primarily set for dealing with metal-hulled ships, but at the same time, it is capable of dealing a lot of damage still to the wooden-hulled ships. So 355% to metal-hulled ships is insane. It will literally melt through monitors, okay? Why? Because I've had to put a lot of these things down in the New World in this campaign to deal with Jean's constant little monitor attacks, okay? And you put like 2 or 3 of these on your harbor, don't even worry about anything else. The only thing you would have to worry about is if they get outranged, and they will get outranged, unfortunately. When it comes to this, oh, I didn't talk about the damage per second with this one. It'll kill everything. Well, let's just talk about that. The damage per second when it comes to the anti-armor gun per shot is 500. Again, it is slow at 7.4 seconds, but the damage per second is at 67. So very, very powerful. And again, it can crit on both of these particular ship types. The Mac Daddy, which I personally don't tend to build this thing, but I know that the AI at some point, especially the expert level AI, are going to like to put 2 or 3 of these on their islands, mostly their capital islands, is the Big Betty. The Big Betty must be placed on the sea or the shore like so. So we're going to put this one for all intents and purposes right here. And these two should be said that they actually require advanced weapons in order to build, not normal weapons. The Big Betty, the reason why I don't build this thing is because it's slow. It's very slow, and it does have a tendency of being outranged at certain times. It really depends on where you build it. But the main thing is, like, damage per shot is 850, and it does splash damage. So if you have a group of ships that are going towards an enemy harbor, and you have 2 or 3 Big Betties there waiting to meet them head on, it'll actually fire, and then multiple ships around it will experience the splash damage. So all of that's transferring onto the other ones, and that in and of itself is a scary thing to see. The only thing that you have going for you when dealing with Big Betties is the fact that they are ridiculously slow on the reload at 12 seconds. Okay? 12 seconds, you should be able, if you have a strong enough fleet, let's say 15 to 20 battle cruisers, to get in close enough to kill this thing off before you start picking off the other harbor defenses. Okay? So, the maintenance cost for this is also pretty high. The only thing, again, that I would recommend if you decide to actually go with the Big Betty is do not only build one, build like 3 or 4. If you want to keep them kind of close to one another, you can do that. But the problem is that, again, yeah, you are using influence with this, and this does cost 14 influence, whereas opposed to like the Anti-Armour Gun is 11, which isn't much less, but it is more effective, in my opinion, than a Big Betty would be. 1 should be sufficient if you choose to build it on your island, 2 at max, but if you really, really, really want to protect an island, yeah, go ahead and build a couple more of these. And I just want to show you at the end what I'm talking about outranging these. So I brought over the 2 ships from the battlecruiser segment of the previous episode so I can show you the radius in comparison. So right now, we're kind of like off the coast right now. The radius, if you can see it, is getting kind of close to the commuter pier and the side of Sir Exelon itself, which means we're not in range of dealing with any of these guns, okay? So let's bring this thing a little bit further forward. At the same time, let's check to see the radius for these ones. So the mounted gun is going to be hitting the ship at this point. The flak gun is not going to be doing anything. The cannon tower is capable of hitting it easily. The flamethrower would be able to fire now. This is the one that you would want to avoid in this particular situation the most. The anti-armor gun is not going to be able to hit it. The ship would have to come closer. And the Big Betty is capable of almost hitting the USS Normandy that's at the far left, okay? So that's why you want to take these things out first. They will be able to hit that far away. If we were to go with an optimized ship, on the other hand, right? This one, trying to find out where its freaking radius is from this angle, where it currently is, capable of dishing out damage to the Big Betty. This is as far as it needs to be. But then again, this is a fully optimized battlecruiser. This is not. This is just your base. So like right here, we're capable of dealing damage to every single one of these harbor defenses. And the only one that can hit it is going to be the Big Betty. The flamethrower is way out of range. So at this point, your first target should be Big Betty, then flamethrower. After that, the cannon tower can't hit it. The anti-armor gun can't hit it. The flak is not going to hit it. And the mounted gun is nowhere close. This is why I'm saying that you can easily navigate around all of these that the AI actually dishes out to you very simply by just having some simple tactics and upgrading your ships with recommended specialists. Okay. They'll be able to pick these off, and then once they're all destroyed, then you can go in for the kill, destroy the rest of the stuff on the harbor, and then the main building, and then the island is yours. In order of priority with building these particular harbor defenses, early game, I'd say cannon towers, followed by like maybe 1 or 2 mounted guns. Even if you don't want to build mounted guns, not a problem. If you are going up against a AI that you know is going to be spamming airships, let's say Margaret Hunt, mounted guns are going to be absolutely useless, but flak emplacements will be very useful. Flame towers go without saying. They are good all-rounders. I would highly recommend you build these. And normally, if you want to build a flame tower, because of how narrow its radius is, or it's not too far, I would try to go to like the edge of your harbor areas as far as it gives you, because you want these things to be dealing as much damage as possible, and they will be fast in dishing out that damage. Followed by that, in late game, you definitely want to try to phase out the cannon towers for the anti-armor guns. Even though these things have a shorter range, they will deal a lot more damage. But again, you do have the whole entirety of this, like, for example, this side to build a whole bunch. So you can, like, put one here, etc., you know, as some ideas. And then, obviously, the Big Betty, which I will leave that up to you. If you decide you want to build this thing, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. It's not going to be as effective as these ones. It's going to be, like, one hit, bam, splash. Ships are going to come in. They might target it first. It really depends. So that's my recommendation when it comes to the harbor defenses. They're very simple to really wrap your head around. And again, if you choose that you want to upgrade them, there are certain specialists. Like if you have this whole system with the Research Institute and whatnot, not the Docklands. I shouldn't have clicked on the Docklands. Go over here to the Research Institute. You can go for like Harbourmaster items, which should be right over here. And there should be some guys that would be able to help out with like, so for example, this one, General Enwig Thompson, Planter of Flags. Attack range increase plus 10%, damage from ships minus 25%, and then unwavering is going to be the buff, which means your military buildings deal increased damage when their hit points are running lower. So they'll deal more damage if they're more damaged, which is kind of interesting. And the cool thing about this is that you can go ahead and put down a Harbourmaster office, very similar to like right over here. You can put this down like right here. All of them are going to be surrounded with that blue outline, and they will all be able to deal more damage, have more hit points, be more effective overall. If you do have Docklands, that's what I was trying to do. Docklands also has a built-in Harbourmaster system. In this particular situation, this island does not have one, but this one does. You will notice that you can put in specific items for the Harbourmaster, like right over here. We have these guys in here, for example, and then you also have module items, which will also contribute to your guns actually being more effective. So it's very, very simple. Nice little optimization goes a long way with these ones and protecting your shores, because you don't want to have a city like this be, you know, taken from you, or hell, something like this. Imagine if we were to lose this city being at war, right? There were harbor defenses here at some point. I had to get rid of them because there's no more enemy in this entire world. So hopefully this video was informative. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I'm very much enjoying putting them together for you and obviously engaging with you guys in the comment section. Harbor defenses are very, very important. Do not ever, in anything, any part of this game, laugh at a flamethrower. It is ridiculously overpowered. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. So until next time, please consider like, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell button, sharing it with your friends. Thank you all, as always, for being here and supporting me and supporting the channel. And I will catch you in the next episode, my rantins.